Let's go to Winnipeg, Nashville to wrap up the show. Our final game, Game 5 in Music City. Nashville minus 160. The total 5.5 across the board. Again, finally an under in this series, and the total, which was our first 6 of this series in the last game, and now we see the drop back to 5.5 here for this Game 5 total. That being said, I'm not sure I'm going to go with the over here in this game because we saw, and this goes against everything Peter Laviolette's done in his lifetime as a coach, going back to when he coached Carolina, coached Philadelphia, now coaching Nashville. He has never endorsed playing check, 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 clog up the middle of the ice, almost neutral zone trap kind of hockey. Okay. And I was stunned to see him go to that and resort to that in game number 4 last night against the Winnipeg Jets. And that's essentially what Nashville did. Nashville is known for, they don't mind the wide open, 90-foot game. They don't mind trading chances. They don't mind showing off their speed and their defensemen flying into the rush as well. They don't mind playing that game until they ran up to this Winnipeg Jets team here in this series. And they saw through 3 games that we're flying up and down with these guys, trading chances, going back and forth, and we can't defend these guys worth a shit playing this way. That's really essentially what Nashville, I think, and Peter Laviolette in particular, realized after Game 3. It's like we can't win playing this way and playing up and down, going back and forth, and giving Winnipeg free reign, free ice, open ice to make plays through the middle, through the neutral zone. We've got to somehow make an adjustment. We've got to just play Katie by the door hockey and defensively minded, and clog up the middle and do an old modified version of the New Jersey Devils in the 1990s here. That's really, honestly, if you watch that game last night, that's what you saw from the Nashville Predators. There was not much open ice. I think it took Winnipeg by surprise. There was not much room, not much time given through the middle of the ice for anybody on that Winnipeg Jets team. And you got to give Peter Laviolette a hell of a lot of credit. He hates coaching that style. That's not the way he has. That's not the system he has run throughout his entire career. He doesn't play, trap hockey. Never has. But he said, we're not winning right now. We're getting crushed defensively by this team. In the first 3 games, we got to do something to stem the tide. And I think this is kind of his way of stemming the tide. I mean, trying to play this defensive-minded hockey, and it worked. Look at Nashville, a tremendous 2-1 win, shut down this Winnipeg team. I know Rene was good, but he didn't face anywhere close to the number of high-quality chances that he faced in the first 3 games. And because it worked and because it tied this series for Nashville, even though they're back home, and what do we say when teams are at home? They try to put on more of a show, try to be more fancy, make more plays. I don't think Nashville's going to deviate a ton from what they did in Game 4. It worked. They're going to clog it up even at home, I think, and try to force Winnipeg to make plays through the middle of the ice, play dump and chase, chip and chase hockey. I think they know that that's worked for them in Game 4. We got to try it again here in Game 5. But now comes the time, I think, for the Winnipeg Jets to make their adjustments in a series that's been back and forth. It's been a chess match. It's 2-2 going back to Nashville. It's time for Paul Maurice, who is a very smart an intelligent coach in my mind, to make some adjustments. Maybe we see a line tweak here or there. Maybe the way they attack Nashville changes based on what Nashville showed them in Game 4. All of that being said, what I'm getting to is I'm going to go in here and take a shot at the plus price here with the Winnipeg Jets, plus 140. I think they've got an adjustment in them. They've shown they can win in Nashville. I know Nashville, a great performance, great adjustment by Laviolette. And if Laviolette gets to another cup final, or wins the cup this year with Nashville, he's in the Hockey Hall of Fame. You can write that down right now. There's no way you can keep him out if he gets to another cup final, because it'll be his 4th cup final with 3 different teams. There's no way. And he sort of showed you why he's got those Hockey Hall of Fame potential credentials with the way he got that team to completely change the way they had played against this Winnipeg team, because what was working, or what they were doing before, wasn't working. So you got to give creative coaching of Peter Laviolette a lot of credit for that going into Game 4. But now I think the time comes for Winnipeg to make their adjustments and play a much better game themselves. I think that will put them in a position to be live to win Game 5 on the road in a series where the loser of the last game has bounced back and won the next one. That's all I need, and I'll take a shot here with Winnipeg plus 140 Saturday night in Game 5 in Music City. Dana Lane, Winnipeg, Nashville. What do you like here?
Well, any coach that's able to have success in Carolina belongs in the Hall of Fame, no matter what they do, and the rest of their career for sure. But
Yes.
uh, hey, listen, I mean, it's very simple. It's almost the same assessment as we had in the previous game. I mean, again, the neutral zone, as you pointed out, was completely clogged by Nashville, and it's very important. A first goal in this game, of course, because then first goal, no matter whoever has it can really dictate the defensive pace, and especially in Nashville's case, I think it's more important for Nashville to get the first goal than it is Winnipeg. But again, I think it's going to be spacing. It's going to be able to break that full court press, which I think that you're going to see not so much for 200 feet, but certainly inside the neutral zone where I think Laviolette feels like he's had success. But I think if Winnipeg is able to beat that, then that really forces Nashville's hand to not play as aggressive, which plays into the hands of the Winnipeg Jets. And so this is a decent plus price. You're getting a team that I think is going to win the series anyway. So I would be I'm with you, Ian. I'm more than happy to take that plus price with a team that's already proven that they could win in Winnipeg. I think they dump the puck in more. I think they use their speed to get it in deep. I think they're going to have a lot more opportunities on the low slot area than they did in game four. And ultimately, I don't know if they just don't go ahead and win the next two games and take out Nashville in six. I don't have a ton of credit in this Predator team or a ton of confidence in this Predator team. I don't know which Pecorine is going to show up from one night to the next. I mean, when he's on, he's a top five goaltender in this league. When he's not on, he's hovering around where Tuukka Rask likes to bounce around from day to day. But tonight, I think you're going to see Winnipeg with their positioning much better. And by positioning, meaning you're going to have inside position when you're coming out of your own zone. You can't have the outside position because that's exactly where Nashville wants you to be, so they can push you to the perimeter, going into their offensive zone. If in fact that you can get into the offensive zone, but if you're able to have inside position on the passes, then you're going to be able to find creases that you're going to be able to utilize your speed in an effort to get into the middle of the ice where Winnipeg is most effective. So that if they're able to do that, great. If Nashville pushes them to the outside, I think the Pekka Rinne has a typical 30-35 save performance and basically puts a stranglehold on this series. But I have a lot of belief in head coaches, and I think Paul Maurice will make the necessary adjustments. And I think Winnipeg at this big plus price is worth a shot.
Yeah, I agree. I think Winnipeg plus price time for Paul Maurice to make adjustments. They're not, I think, overly difficult adjustments to make. Again, you chip the puck in more, you win one-on-one battles to the end boards, get those loose pucks, and just jam the puck right in front of the net. Look for traffic and rebounds. I think that's the formula. It's not going to be skating through the middle of the ice because it worked all three games for Winnipeg. It didn't work in game four because of the clogging up of the neutral zone by Nashville in a more trap style. And again, Laviolette, give him credit for that because this is a Nashville team that got to the Stanley Cup final playing up and down hockey. That's been the system he's used. And for the first time ever, he's finally just come to the realization that, oh my gosh, we're playing the way we always usually do against and the way we beat all teams we beat and being this great team, number one in the West in points. And yet we're not being able to win that way here in this series with this Winnipeg team. He made that adjustment. Let's clog it up. Let's slow the pace down. And man, did it ever work for Nashville in game four. But I think Winnipeg adjusts and has a chance to win game five on the road. Alex B. Smith, Nashville, Winnipeg. Fascinating matchup. It's been a great series, compelling chess match from a coaching standpoint. Everything you want in a good series, Alex. What do you like in this game here?
Yeah, it's been a fantastic series, and unfortunately, I was on the over in last game, and like I said, now I'm realizing that we're seeing these series kind of shift and trend more to the under. We're seeing teams tightening down defensively, and like you said, this is a if of all the four series, this is definitely the biggest one as far as coaches making adjustments and changes and seeing those play out much to how they want it to happen in each game. And I think that's going to be the case here with Winnipeg. Like I said, at a plus 140 price, These teams aren't that far apart from one another, obviously being 2-2 in a series, and it's a team we've seen be able to play well on the road. They're not afraid of the crazy crowd down there in Nashville, so they're not gonna be rattled. They came out flat last game. They know that they have to play at a much higher level, higher performance, and they're a team that can morph their style and morph their ability. Like I said, they don't have to skate right down the middle. They can be a little creative, dump and chase and skate hard. Maybe even play a little more physical, especially when they get down, behind the net, get inside of Nashville zone, use their size to their advantage here. So, yeah, Winnipeg's the way I'm leaning here. Like I said, I believe Winnipeg's going to win this series. Winnipeg was my pick to win the Stanley Cup. So I do think they find a way to win here, and I think we're getting a really good price with it. So Jets plus 140. I also would probably look at the overtime prop here. I could see this game being tight, maybe a 2-2 or 3-3 spot going into OT. And usually, I haven't played those in a while, but I think we might get a decent price around plus 310 or 320 there. So that's something I would have circled as well.
Oh yeah, definitely could see it being a very close game. And as I mentioned, the losing team of the previous game in this series is 3-0. In the next game, it would be 4-0 if Winnipeg's able to get the job done here in Game 5. Andrew McGinnis, Nashville, Winnipeg, take it away.
Yeah, here's the problem in my eyes, guys, and the problem is to me is that we haven't really seen Nashville play their best game yet, and we haven't really seen exactly what their stars are capable of doing. We didn't see Forsberg and players like that play their style that they played even against a team like Colorado. And I know it's obviously a way different team in the Winnipeg Jets, of course, but we haven't really seen them be themselves and get comfortable yet and make these special plays that they're used to making. But to be quite honest with you, I'm on the side where I believe that in order for Nashville to stay successful and succeed against this Winnipeg team, they have to keep the score under the total. They have to keep it a lower scoring game. They have to play that different style that Ian and Dana and you guys were mentioning, where they have to kind of calm things down a little bit. Oftentimes in sports, and I coach a little bit on the side, and you often tell your team, don't try and play to the level of your opposition. Play to yourself, like play to your game. And I think that's kind of been an issue for this Nashville Predators team. They came into this series against the Winnipeg Jets trying to beat the Winnipeg Jets, and instead of trying to just play themselves and just right now all the games that they've lost, I feel like they've lost it on themselves. And I don't really think the Winnipeg Jets have fully beat them. But I do think that the Winnipeg Jets are an awfully dangerous team. They've got weapons. I mean, yesterday watching that game, guys, that the amount of ice time that Patrick Laine got at the end of that game, you saw him just talking to every player, discussing stuff with Scheifele, Bufflin. I mean, everybody. And then all of a sudden he snipes that goal. I mean, they made it look so planned, so scripted, so perfect that those weapons really do scare me for Winnipeg. But I'm gonna look to go to the under again in this game, guys. I feel like it's gonna switch, like Alex is saying, the tides are turning, and I think the teams are starting to narrow down. Lavi's trying to figure out what works best for his team. Not how can I beat the Winnipeg Jets, but what works best for our team in this situation. And I have a future on the Predators to win the Cup this year, and I think we'll see an even more improved, and even better team in the next game. But I'm more so on the under in next game than any side.
All right, under for Andrew in the Winnipeg-Nashville Game 5. Yeah, Nashville's probably going to be in one of those situations where they're better off playing that way now, a lower scoring game. It's unbelievable. But Nashville all season long, up and down. Last year, run to the Cup final, up and down. Now they've played this Winnipeg team, and Peter's probably thinking after Game 3, we're skilled, we're talented, we're fast. Yet we don't have quite as much of any of that compared to this Winnipeg team based on what they're doing to us so far here in this series. And that's why he's gone to this little stylistic shift now and just, take away that speed through the neutral zone. And man, that style worked for Nashville in Game 4 and might be the style they're going to need to employ moving forward if they're going to win this series against this opponent. Maybe in the next round they can go back to playing a little bit more open, but he's obviously made that decision that, hey, we're going to win this series and beat this Winnipeg Jets team. We got to slow the pace down just a little bit.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.